Hi everyone, this is Lokesh from the Soul Freedom Show, and we have two very special guests today, Taylor Fortune and Sara Ashley. How are you guys doing?
Great. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Yeah, we were just chatting and we thought I thought we were already recording it, and I'm like, oh fuck. Because we just like enjoying the conversation so much, but maybe we can start from the work thing. Like we were just talking about work versus play. So you guys are doing a new business now. First of all, Taylor, you want to introduce yourself? Maybe you guys can introduce yourself, then we go with that conversation. I'm too excited.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm Taylor Fortune, and I'm a co-founder of the Mystic Arts, themysticarts.org. It is a institute for astrology, cosmology, and magic. So we teach classes, guys. We teach 10 different classes there, and this is we're calling them the New Earth classes. So it's in tarot, clairvoyance, astrology, starseed cosmology, energy clearing. What else, Sarah?
Twin flames. Did you say Starseed Astrology
Yeah,
yet?
starseed astrology as well as cosmology. Yep.
Psychic
Right.
clairvoyance. I
Yeah.
mean, we have the whole roster here. We're so excited to like bring all this information to the public. All these like ancient mystery schools should no longer be mysteries, especially as we're ascending into 5D New Earth. All these tools should be at everyone's disposal. Whoever wants them, they should be able to access them.
Everyone is in 8 billion people, you mean?
Sure, if they want. Yeah.
They won't listen anyway, so but you might as well
Yeah,
make it
that's
accessible.
yeah,
Yeah,
accessible at
if
least.
they have the internet, if they have the internet, and if they're going through their spiritual awakening, now not this information is not going to attract everyone. Some people are just going to be curious because they have like a morbid sense of curiosity about it, and maybe we can awaken them. But not everybody wants to hear this information. A lot of people want to be in stuck in the 3D, which makes total sense. But
Yeah.
people who want to hear this information and have internet access, is definitely available for them.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you said, some people have the cognitive dissonance, like they just like they don't want to go there because also it's scary. I mean, even for me when I started listening about all this cabal and all these weird AI stuff,
Yeah.
like do I really want to go this rabbit hole? Because I know once because I go deep, whatever I do, I want to go deep. I'm sure you guys are the same.
Yeah.
Because we want to go deep, right? And then some people don't want to go there, I guess. That's why, I mean, your stuff is not as intimidating as Ishmael's
No,
stuff.
no, I mean, we consider ourselves light workers, so
Right.
this is stuff with a light. Like, I feel like the
Yeah.
things that you're discussing, like the cabal, that's definitely like underworld, dark kind of things that a lot of people, once they're exposed to those things, that they want to learn about, higher earth and ascension.
Yeah. So your stuff is more around it's astrology. And how do you differentiate cosmology and astrology? What's the difference?
Well,
Well,
cosmology essentially is a study of the history of the universe, how it formed, basically astrology is the stars as they are right now in the sky. Um, Either the tropical astrology, which is tied to the seasons and is known as Western astrology, has to do with the rotation of the Earth and the axis of the Earth, and that is all cyclical every year. And then Vedic astrology or sidereal astrology, Sarah, you would say that's celestial, and how would you describe it?
that's based off of different calculations, the Vedic astrology, and it's still legitimate, but it comes from a different calculation. I believe it's like 26 to 27 days off of tropical astrology.
Mm,
So I know I'm a Sagittarius in Vedic,
mm,
so which I don't feel like I'm a Sagittarius.
Yeah.
So just everything's just like 26 days off is far as
oh,
I know. But
mm,
since I'm not a student of Vedic astrology, I can't like completely speak for it. But as all astrology is just based on the calculations of the stars and the angles between the stars and the planets from Earth. And then, of course, cosmology is about like Taylor said, it's about the history of the cosmos, and it's about how we develop from star seeds and now into humans.
So are there any similarities between the Vedic astrology and the Western, or are they completely different?
They have the same signs, but I believe the calculations are different.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm a Western astrologer. I have not seriously studied Vedic astrology, but I know that they're used for the same purposes. And I know, like, you're from India, so you probably know this, that a lot of the Indian couples actually get
Yeah,
marriages based on Vedic
right,
astrology.
right.
So I know that's taken very, very seriously in India.
Yeah, I mean, not anymore. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but now, I mean, it's changing now because, the internet and like people are more open-minded, I guess is the word. But yeah, traditionally, yeah. So if like, let's say somebody was studied Vedic astrology, they understand their personality through that, and they were to study Western, uh, would they have to kind of study a new perspective of their personality, or they can just
Yeah, they can study a new perspective of their personality, but the thing is, there's truth in all of these calculations. So I would never say like Vedic or Western, or like one is completely wrong or one is completely right. There's truth in all these different kind of esoteric studies.
Well, another thing too with Vedic is that because it's tied to the cycle of the stars versus the rotation of the Earth, a lot of people say that that has to do with your cosmic or celestial self, and then in Western or tropical astrology, that has to do with your earth-bound self, your earthly self.
I see. So there's just different perspectives, but it's obviously the planets and stars and galaxies, all that stuff cannot change because obviously we have fixed planets. But I
Right.
mean, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's a rotation, but yes, they're fixed more or
yeah,
less.
yeah. I mean, except for the fact that they keep coming up with new planets, and I mean, it's just that it's not that new planets are getting born. It's just that our science is catching up with that, right? Like they keep discovering new. So how does that work? Like, do you guys have to change your, like, let's say the science says that okay, we have another planet, like 10th planet or whatever. Does this change anything for the reading of the chart, or?
Well, it would just add it on. So, for example, like, during the time of World War II, Hitler had an astrologer, who was trying to make, prognostications for him, and he had no idea about Neptune or Pluto. So he left those two planets out off of, Hitler's horoscope. And thankfully he did, because, that's how they lost, because they weren't using the right strategy, because they didn't account for Neptune or Pluto. If they accounted for Neptune and Pluto, then they would have definitely seen some different things in there. Actually, it showed that he was going to be doomed. So who knows? But they made a lot of miscalculations based on what his chart said without using Neptune and Pluto at that time.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, even a lot of the business decisions I've heard, especially in China and some of those countries, they consult these astrologers, or is it, I don't know, somebody?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I heard this quote, and I don't maybe remember who it's from, Taylor, about like
JP Morgan.
Yeah, JP Morgan, millionaires don't use astrologers, billionaires do.
Oh, now I know. Now I know who I'm gonna consult when I become a billionaire. But also the what is that name? Tai Ching. There's a book of in China where they have
The I Ching.
I Ching, yeah. So that has 26 or 52 something. That's a different model, right?
It's a different model. Yeah.
You guys don't use that. I mean,
No, I do not use it. I mean, there's multiple forms of divination. I'm familiar with it, but I don't teach it or anything like that. It's just, yeah, I stick to my own. Like I do tarot and pendulum and some things. And we also teach a little bit about everything, but yeah, not the I Ching.
And for tarot, also, I'm sure there's different types. What are the main different categories of tarot? Or is there any category, or is it just whoever created it is based on that?
There's categories, so it's all elemental. Like it all comes down to the four elements: fire, water, air, and earth. And so all the decks, the different suits, have to do with the elements themselves. And then beneath that is the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, which is the foundation for which all 78 tarot cards are based on, which has to do with the 10 spheres on the Tree of Life and then the 22 pathways.
Right, right. So we can get into some of the classes you're teaching. Maybe you can give a high-level summary of that. Obviously, people can go to your website, which is the mysticarts.org.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right. So maybe like a high level of what you're offering.
Sure, we'd love to. What class would you like us to start us with?
Like on a high level, maybe all the different categories of classes, I guess.
Sure. Taylor, do you want to start with the Starseed Cosmology?
Yeah, so Starseed Cosmology is the class I do with Ishmael. It's Ishmael's class based on his book, Our Cosmic Origin. And there we basically explore the different starseed races, talk about the history of the galaxy from its conception at the very beginning. We talk about the Galactic Federation, the mission of starseeds, how it relates to world theology, world mythology, and basically what it all has to do with this, coming spiritual war with artificial intelligence and the cabal that, it seems to be the big issue of our time right now for people in the spiritual community. So ultimately, it's about 5D ascension and activating angelic DNA, which relates to multiple dimensions, the multiverse beyond just the 5D there. So yeah, very cool class. Very cool class.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I teach astrology, and Taylor also co-teaches that with me. And then we also have Sophia Sadie, who also co-teaches some of the classes with me as well. We have 3 levels of astrology that we teach in our from the mysticarts.org. And the first level is level 1, beginner astrology, and that's introduction to birth charts, and that's 4 classes. And then the next level, level 2, is love astrology, relationship astrology, because everybody wants to know, like, am I compatible with this person? Should I marry that person? Is this person my twin flame, my soulmate, my karmic partner? Right. So we teach all of that. And we also have a separate twin flames class, and that's for anybody, and they don't have to be an astrologer or even interested in astrology necessarily to take that. But that is channel information about twin flames and how to recognize your twin flame. And then the level 3 class, that's past and future lives. So we teach you how to look into the past using your Akashic Records through astrology, and also looking into your future based on your North Node. So, in Vedic astrology, there's also Rahu and Ketu, and that's the North Node and South Node in tropical astrology. And we also use different kinds of charts that are widely used. And we both teach those and how to, apply them to your life, and also how to get clarification and healing from your Akashic Records in that class.
Wow. My mind is already spinning.
No, there's more.
There's more.
Sarah does private Akashic readings too. So even outside of our classes, you can still book Akashic readings, private astrology, private tarot. So we really have a lot, and I think that's only half the classes. I'll do a couple more just quickly.
Okay.
So we do energy clearing, which dives into the supernatural. So we talk about negative energy, evil entities, paranormal activity, and how to clear and heal that. We have an elemental magic class that gets into spell casting, chakra systems, pantheon of the gods, Wicca, paganism, like all kinds of history and roots of occult spirituality. And and Sarah, I guess for the last one, and Tarot too. Oh my God, Kabbalistic Tarot, where we go into the Kabbalistic origin of Tarot. I'll leave that there. It's very cool. Then Sarah, tell about Starseed Astrology, and we'll tell about Starseed Astrology and Psychic Clairvoyance.
Yes, I know we have so many offerings.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So in our Starseed Astrology class, we talk about how to, it's a 1 day only class, and it's a very inexpensive price too. So it's a great like introduction to what we do at the mysticarts.org, just in case someone doesn't want to like make a huge investment, because it's only 2 hours of your time. So a lot of people want to know, what Starseed family am I from? I might feel like I'm a Lyran, but I'm not sure. How can I really tell? So, astrology is sacred geometry. And because of the fixed stars, which has something to do directly with star seeds, I can show them how to find it on their chart. And I show it through actual, examples of charts of how to find what star seed family you're from using your own birth chart. So that's what we do in those 2 hours. And if someone's, likes that class and they want to learn more about star seeds, and they can take the 3-week Starseed cosmology class with Ishmael and Taylor. And if they've already taken that and they just want to know more about how star seeds are connected to astrology, they can take the class with me. So it's a wonderful connection point. And then we also have a 3-week psychic clairvoyance class, and that's all about how to open up your third eye chakra, get downloads from the divine, and get in touch with your guides, your archangels, and also how to access your own Akashic Records and those of others. So we have so much to offer, and we're just so excited to meet all these wonderful students and educate them in these beautiful ancient practices.
And your school is, when did you start this?
We started
June.
it, June 1st.
June. Wow, it's like up to
Yeah.
3 months. Like, wow. So you're getting, I'm sure you're getting a very good response, as in, did you start with Ishmael in the beginning, or you added him later?
A little of both.
Okay.
So, I mean, I guess I conceived the idea like a while, 6, 9 months ago. And then
Okay.
as Sarah and I were putting together, we knew we were going to do astrology because she teaches
Right.
astrology. I was teaching tarot. And so that was just a given. We're like, okay, we'll do astrology, tarot. And we were just troubleshooting, what subjects do we want to have?
Okay.
And I was like, I want to teach a magic class. She's like, I want to teach a clairvoyance class. And we were just kind of building from
Yeah.
there.
Right.
And I knew that we would want a Starseed class because it just fit with the curriculum.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Ishmael and I had done some lives together. I'd read his book a couple times. Sarah's read his book. And so it really just started with an Instagram message, very vague.
Right.
I just said, hey, would you like to collaborate on a Starseed project? And he said yes. And eventually we just went out for coffee. And I said, so here's the deal. Me and Sarah are starting a school. Do you
Yeah.
want to be part of like the curriculum? And he was
Right.
like, hell yeah. So from there, him and I just went through his book, just, kind of
Yeah.
decided where to start, what
Okay.
parts of the book to pull to teach. And it, just built it from there. And it was really effortless, I guess.
Cool. That's amazing. Because we were talking earlier about the work culture, right? Like now it seems like us star seeds. First of all, maybe let me start with this. Like, how would you define a star seed? Maybe you can talk about it one at a time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a lot less complicated than people think.
yeah,
I mean, a starseed essentially is just somebody who is here on Earth, but they're from a different star system. And
yeah,
so they chose to come here, much like we choose to go to college, not like we don't choose to go to prison. Okay?
yeah,
So this is a mission that we've chosen.
yeah,
Part of the mission, of course, includes forgetting that you chose that mission, because the purpose is you have to find it within yourself also. And so oftentimes that mission, the starseed mission, to raise the vibration of the planet, to bring
yeah,
our planet into the level of higher consciousness, of 5D ascension,
right.
oftentimes that mission is activated by some kind of trauma,
Mhm.
which is why you hear about spiritual awakening all the time.
Yeah,
Spiritual awakening isn't a fun thing. It happens when people deal with death,
yeah,
divorce,
yeah,
addiction, toxic situations,
yeah,
abuse,
right.
all kinds of things leads to
Yeah,
spiritual awakening. So the star seeds are the people who have just come here for the divine purpose of saving the world. I mean, to put
yeah,
it bluntly,
yeah,
it's saving the world. Sarah, what do you think?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, a star seed, we come from the original star systems. We were here, since the beginning of creation. Our souls have been here since the beginning of creation. And we are here to activate all souls that are living on Earth. So that is our job. That is our mission. It's a unified mission in vision, even though we all have our own like separate missions as well.
Yeah.
But the unified mission is to awaken Earth and to activate all the souls on Earth to ascend to 5D.
Wow, good answers. 10 out of 10. Both of you.
Thank you. I appreciate the A+, especially on a Saturday night.
Yeah, right.
So one question I had is like, do you guys feel like that the whole Starseed community is more virtual or online versus physical? Like everybody I know is it does it have any purpose? I know it's all energetic connection. That's probably the way I look at it, is that that's one of the lessons that we are learning, is that we don't have to be physically with each other. We're energetically connected. Maybe that's part of, maybe I should talk about me. That's part of my lesson, is that
Yeah.
because sometimes I'm like, where are my people when I have to get on my phone or my computer? So, but I was wondering what you guys have to say about that.
Well, I definitely feel like, we can all be connected psychically, through our third eye chakra, but it is important for us to meet our soul families. It's so important because we activate each other through the physical meeting as well. So, nobody should be alone. That's the only danger I feel like I'll back it up a little bit. Like, it's a big blessing that we have the internet. It's a giant blessing that we have social media and that we can meet people from all over the world. But we should still, try our best to be in physical contact and in physical union with people, who are in our soul family, because they, touch is so important. We are still human beings. We need that touch. We need that face-to-face interaction and contact to actually like raise our moods, to raise our vibrations, to do this work, because you can't just do it all alone in your house or your apartment. Even if you're on the phone, or if you're on Zoom or Skype or whatever with somebody else who's in your soul family.
Yeah,
What do you think, Taylor?
I like to point this out in, the Starseed class. Ishmael and I are both in agreement on this. Like, the 3D life, our 3D incarnation, it matters. It's not just, a burden or an inconvenience on our way to somewhere better that we can just, try to quickly get through with minimal effort and hope that we'll be, welcomed into the gates of heaven, which, a lot of people have conflated 5D ascension with heaven. And there's a lot of correlation, absolutely. But there's a lot of work and karmic lessons you have to face in your 3D incarnation in order to get into the next place. It's like, take a video game. You can't just stand there on level 1 and somebody's saying, hey, you have to move, man. You got to, the guy's got to move. And like, no, I'm just waiting to get to the next level. Like, but you're going to die if you don't jump over stuff and like try to get through this level. It's the metaphor is like, you're not going to get to the next level if you're stagnant or just doing absolutely nothing. You have to learn the lessons and live the life in order to keep ascending. It's an evolutionary process, but it's the evolutions of the soul, and it's an infinite process.
Yeah, life is for learning, and those experiences help you learn. Those interactions with people help you learn and grow and level up, especially when we're talking about 5D. 5D is love. And how can you love somebody if like completely, I guess, if you're not faced with those face-to-face conflicts with them?
Yeah. So it's more like we're getting ready to get to that level where we, like from what Ishmael says and other people say, like we're going to be together when we get to 5D, but we're kind of preparing for it and energetically preparing for it, not physically. And then when we get to that next level, it probably won't even matter if we are physically together, because we'll all already be energetically connected. Am I right?
I think there's varying opinions on that. I think like a lot of that right now is theory. So I feel like people will be able to, communicate more telepathically in the 5D for sure, because, if you are connected with soul family, you can feel their energy from afar. But I do believe that the groups of people, the star families, the Starseed families, they will be in union together again, physically.
Okay.
Somehow it will happen. I don't know how. I don't have all the answers. I wish I did, but I feel like somehow
Well,
we merge together. I don't know how it's going to happen exactly. Taylor, what do you think?
one way it's going to happen is to flow, to flow,
Yeah.
to stay open-minded, okay? Because what is not going to unite you with your star family is judgment and anger
Preach.
and fear.
And fear too. Yeah.
Yeah, fear, anger, and judgment will not unite you with anybody, you know, in the 3D, the 5D, or beyond. And that is an issue that is prevalent on social media as we become more disconnected from our humanity and more immersed in the age of technology, that people have these extreme walls and they hide behind their own spiritual self-righteousness.
Right.
But the reality is that the entire universe is a cosmological love story. And though we don't have to love every single person equally, we have to tap into the love versus fear side of ourselves. You know, that's what's going to unite us. That's when the star families, that's the cosmological law of attraction. That's what brings people to us. Hatred and fear repel people away from us. So, you know, I'd like to tell people on social media, like, stay open-minded, you know, don't just, don't just be negative and assume that everyone that is not you is demonic or part of the cabal. You know, that is a grave mistake.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like somebody might see me and they're like, oh, you have tattoos, you know, oh, you might maybe are part of the cabal because someone else in the cabal has a tattoo. Like, I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But it's
and
true.
it's just judging somebody by, you know, their meat suit,
Yeah.
their expression of their meat suit, and they don't even really know them. And yes, there's definitely things that people can do that are very off-putting, of course, you know, very dark things people can do in their expression, their creative expression. But when we just like automatically just judge someone and we don't even get to know them, we don't even listen to what they're saying, then that's really creating barriers to the heart, barriers to the soul, barriers to growth.
Let me give you a really funny example of this.
Okay.
I'm sure you watch a lot of Ishmael's lives on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Very popular. I saw someone tuned into one of his lives. His live glitched because guess what? We all have issues with internet at our house and all that. His live glitched while he made a funny face. Happens to us all. Happened to you earlier. Happens to me all the time. It glitched in a funny face. Someone wrote, "Oh, this is clearly demonic work. I'm out." And then the person logged off of the live. He was doing a live for 45 minutes. This person just logged in and saw one little glitched face, and then she deemed it demonic and logged out. And it's like, all of Ishmael's 25-year Starseed career was reduced to 3 seconds for this person, and she was like, just deemed him demonic. And it's like, it's so unreal to me that somebody would write someone off just like that for something so silly. Like, I'm sure this person glitches all the time. You know, it's the internet. It's iPhones.
Completely out of our control. It happens all the time. Like, I was just talking to Taylor and I was in the grocery store and I was glitching. Doesn't mean
exactly. Sarah, demonic, mystic arts, over.
Yeah. I think that's where just closed-mindedness, and I think that's part of what I don't think Ismail talks about this directly, but he says that when the solar flash occurs, there's going to be that split, right? Like where even Dolores O'Cannon, like many people talk about it. So I think part of the split is going to be that people who are open to this stuff and then others who are closed. And that's what cognitive dissonance is, like they don't want to go there, right?
Right.
So some people come to this information by accident, and then they want to go into the rabbit hole. I mean, that's the beauty of the internet. Like without the internet, we wouldn't know that. So in that sense, even if this is AI, I still love this AI, but I want a better AI.
Right. No, I hear you. What it is, it's the Christ consciousness. And some people say that they're using Christ consciousness, but they're not. They're just using that as a cover to be righteous, very self-righteous. So we all have to tune into that Christ consciousness of openness,
Yeah.
love, acceptance, non-judgment, instead of saying that they are using it, but they're not, which has been going on for, thousands of years now.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
and exactly, and on top of that, to simply call whatever is unknown to you demonic, I mean that's just propaganda by
Yeah.
definition. It's like, and I'm not even talking about the real world here. I'm talking about the spiritual community
Yeah.
throwing these labels
Yeah,
at
even the
each other.
Q, like even the whole Q movement, like people are either for it or against. They don't want to see the positive, and it doesn't matter if it's
Right.
true or not. Are you learning something?
Yeah.
right, exactly. There's always a kernel of truth in everything, isn't there?
Yeah. So I wanted to quickly ask about white magic versus black magic, because you guys teach that magic stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And magic with the K, is it different from magic with the C, or it just depends on how you use it?
Yeah, all it means with a K is it's
Yeah.
not illusions. It's not stage magic where you're pulling a rabbit out of a hat,
Right.
because that was really popular at the turn of the century. So
Right.
when people said I study magic, people are like, "Oh, do a card trick." And they're like, what? "Sorry. No,
Okay,
I'm
okay.
talking about, manifestation,
Okay.
meditations and all that." So that's the reason for the K. And somewhere along the way, people are like, "Oh, is that demonic?" Because anytime somebody doesn't understand something, it's demonic.
Yeah, right.
But no, so it's just so it's not stage magic. But yeah, I mean, white magic is anything that you do for the betterment of yourself, the betterment
Right.
of your community, and the betterment of the world. And black magic is anything to control things, to control other people, to manipulate things, to do things against the will of yourself,
Okay.
of your community, or the world.
Do you guys teach that?
Yeah, teach black magic. Yeah, come to the Mystic Arts.
I'm
and I'll
gonna sign up. I'll be your first student. No, I'm kidding.
yeah. No, I know, right? I mean, yeah. So we talk about the ethics of it. Actually, Sarah, we could talk about both the ethics of magic and the ethics of being clairvoyant. But
Yeah.
in a nutshell, like we're just,
Yeah.
we tell people like you have to use this for good. That's what
Yeah.
white magic's all about.
Right.
And Sarah, do you want to talk about the ethics of being a psychic, and then we can come back to magic?
So just quick question about that. So how do you define good in the sense, let's say there's somebody who's trying, let's take an extreme example, somebody wants to kill me or do some harm to me, right? Like, but if I use magic to kind of harm him to protect me, how do you define good?
That's still black magic because you're harming somebody.
Even
So
if I'm protecting myself from that?
so that you would use banishment. So instead of him being harmed, he
Yeah.
would be blocked from harming you. So it's like self-defense. So anything that is against somebody else's free will, or it will harm somebody else or even yourself, that's black magic. But white magic, white light magic, is you are protecting yourself, you're protecting others, you're not harming anybody involved, you are not violating anybody's free will. So if somebody intends to do harm, like the worst extreme, they intend to kill you, and you know that this is going to happen. I mean, it's a very extreme example,
Yeah.
and I don't know, for some reason you can't physically defend yourself. You would do banishment, you would do protection. So it doesn't mean that any harm will come to this person, just means that it's like spiritual protection between you and them, which will actually manifest itself into physical protection.
Okay.
But if anybody is trying to physically harm you, definitely, I would say
I
that's
mean,
on magic at that point. I would definitely take some matters into your own hands.
I mean, not just physical, even psychic attacks is the same thing, right? Like if I have to protect, so if in the process of protecting myself, like that's what they teach in martial arts too, right? Like sometimes it's defense, but sometimes it has to be an offense. So that's why if it's an offense, then is it considered dark in that sense?
Well, the person offending you, they would be dark, but you would have to return it to them with love and light. That's what I always say, return, return to sender with love and light, so that they actually are healed in the process as well. Because that person who's sending you, a psychic attack, they definitely, they need the healing so that they don't continue to do this to you or other people, because obviously they're being tortured themselves if they're doing this to others.
So if that was true, let's just go that rabbit hole. If that was true, then there won't be any of these trials and all these things, like people who have harmed, let's say, the kids in the underground dumps or whatever. Like we won't have to kill them, right? We would just
Well,
protect the kids. That's it.
I think it gets pretty complicated because you're looking at it from a human perspective,
Yeah.
and I am too, and Sarah is too. But there is a cosmic perspective here that the three of us can't even see. So it's hard to answer about world and cultural events like that, or like kind of what. I know what you're getting at. You're talking about just evil on the planet.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if there's magic, why was there World War II? Why was there Hitler? I don't know. Honestly, man, like I don't know. Like that's a really complicated question. I have some theories, but like we are dealing with massive cosmic ideas here.
Mm.
We're not trying to teach kind of puppeteering the planet. We're just talking about
Mm.
self-empowerment
Okay.
and
Okay.
self-healing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I feel your question. It's a very, very good, valid question. It's just maybe Sarah has a better answer than me, but I think it gets really complicated.
That's a very good answer, Taylor. I think just to like really whittle it down to brass tacks here is that what we're teaching people is personal empowerment, just like
Right.
Taylor
Right.
said, how to raise the vibration of their own life because
Mm.
it starts with you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right.
Right. Raising the vibrations of the collective starts with you. Now, if everybody, follow those practices, or if the majority of people in the world follow those practices, then we wouldn't have as much evil.
Yeah, there won't be anybody harming anybody. So that
Right.
question won't even arise that what should I do if somebody's done.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So we're not
exactly.
teaching people how to like fix the whole entire collective or horrible, horrible
Right.
problem.
Maybe that's a Ishmael question. Maybe next time around.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's
Right.
more like a cosmic ambassador. I like that title here, like cosmic ambassador.
I love it too.
Like, can I be your co-ambassador? No.
Your co-pilot.
Yeah. So he was talking about the 100. I don't know if you guys, I think Taylor, you said you've read his book 2 times. Sarah, have you read his
Yes,
book?
I read his book as well.
So he talks about those, okay, I'm going into a tangent. So let me just get back because my mind's like my
You're the host.
multi-dimensionality
You're
kicks.
the host. It's fine. You're the
Yeah,
host.
yeah. I
It's
have to
fine, just
stop
whatever you want.
myself because that's what the whole problem with the multi-dimensionality thing is. Like we can go into so many different directions that sometimes I have to tell myself to stop. Like stop it. That's a rabbit hole you don't want to go. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to your work. So okay, that's magic. So I wanted to also ask about the Taylor, you had that you said the near-death experience and you were in the hospital, like how it changed your perspective on things, and if you want to go a little more into that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in 2019, so it's almost 3 years ago to the day. Really, it was around August of 2019. I had a condition where I was like experiencing internal bleeding, like in my lungs, and it was misdiagnosed, and so I didn't get the proper medical treatment until pretty late into the process. And after a few weeks, where it essentially felt like I was drowning on dry land, you could say, I finally had to go to the emergency room, and yeah, it turned out to be this very rare autoimmune disease called sarcoidosis that causes inflammation in your internal organs and can lead to failure if, in severe cases. And my case turned out to be very severe. So they told me I was, if I hadn't come in when I did, I could have died very soon. So as I was in the hospital for over a week on that time, and I've now been hospitalized 5 times for it over the past 3 years. But yeah, my whole entire life changed. It was just a lot of reflection. I was on a lot of medication. The whole entire hospital is a liminal space in itself. I mean, it's as close in the Western world to the door of death, you could say. Being at death's doorstep. I mean, that's what a hospital is. It's like you either survive or you die. That's how it goes. So I just kind of drifted in that liminal space for a few weeks and just really contemplated what to do next. And it wasn't active thinking. It was channeling. It was like, what am I here to receive? Like, what am I doing with my life, and what's my divine purpose on this planet?
Yeah.
And that experience itself is a fairly universal experience for the people who choose to go, or for the people who have been chosen for their spiritual activation.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of trauma, and it's a very effortless kind of download. It's not, like I said, you're not trying to think about what to do. You're just kind of lying there. And
Yeah, like nothing to do. Like then it's like deeper questions. Like it's not just what am I gonna eat today.
Yeah,
Those questions
yeah.
disappear.
Yeah, and you find that you know, in the hospital you don't give one shit about the job you work.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
who cares? Like, your family's coming to visit you to make sure you're alive. You know, you're not like, oh, I hope they got my shift covered. You know, you're like, I don't give a damn
Yeah,
about that.
I don't know if I'm gonna survive on
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that tells
Yeah.
you everything. I mean, if you're at death's doorstep and you have spent your past 20 years at a job that you're not even thinking about, then you better reconsider, if you get out of there, whether you should go back to that job.
Right. And if you go back, what are you gonna do? Like that, those kind of questions. Yeah.
So that's, you know, Sarah's heard this story 1,000 times, but that's where like all of this started building, was in those mental, spiritual downloads, conversations about, okay, what's next? What am I going to do with Act 2 of my life? Because Act 1 led me to this,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, it was like an intermission of the story.
I think that permission.
Intermission or a divine intervention somewhere.
Oh
between.
yeah, that too. Yeah, we kind of rhyme to intervention.
We'll make a hip hop song.
Yeah, especially you're in the LA area. So anyway, you, Sarah, do you have any of those? What it's almost like a dark night of the soul moment that kind of changed your life, right? Or I'll let you.
Dark night of the soul, 3 years. Yeah.
Oh yeah, what did I
Exactly.
say? Did I say dark?
Well, for
Dark
Taylor,
night.
he said in just a moment. He said it was 3 years.
Yeah, my dark night of the soul was 3 years, but that
yeah, dark years of the soul.
Yeah, dark 3 years of the soul.
Yeah.
Mine is not quite as dramatic as Taylor's, and it's not quite as poignant or moving, or, you know, I didn't have a near-death experience, but I was just living a lifestyle that was very inauthentic to myself. For many years, I abandoned all my spiritual practices. Like, you know, I've been into astrology and divination and just, you know, psychic intuition for my whole entire life since I was a child. It was something that always called to me. And it was semi-validated by my mother. She would go in and out of like, this is cool, this is not cool, I believe it, I don't believe it. But in my 20s, I was 26 years old. I just had a moment where I was like, I can't live like this anymore. I just can't. So I actually got on my hands and knees and I asked the divine to help me, and I felt divine intervention. I literally felt divine intervention. And from that moment on, I started living in my purpose and my truth, but it took me many years to get to where I am today. But the time period, I would say between 20 and 26, like, I don't even know what I was doing in those years. Like, it's just like rinse, lather, repeat, rinse, lather, repeat. So I feel like I must have been going through some kind of like, it was like a depression, but it wasn't like a suicidal depression. It was more like every day was the same. It was like Groundhog Day, monotony, no feelings, no spiritual connection whatsoever. I'm just going through the motions. And then, you know, after then my life started really kicking off. But I wouldn't say it wasn't until about a year and a half ago where I actually feel like I really got to the point where I'm starting to actually really live my life. So it's been a long journey. It's been a very long journey.
Wow. That's inspirational. I mean, both of your stories. So talking about inspiration, who have been your inspirations, like growing up or even during those transition periods? So anybody who really, like maybe one or two people who really inspired you to take this direction in life?
You want to start, Sarah?
Sure. Okay. So My grandfather has been really inspirational to me. He's still alive. I don't see him as much as I used to because, it's difficult when people get older and you really can't have the same conversations with them.
Yeah.
But he's a Holocaust survivor and he went through a near-death experience on Death March. And that really, it really made me believe that a lot of these intuitive downloads that I've been receiving are absolutely real. So they put them in a barn in the middle of the night and he hid somehow. He was like down to like 65 pounds. And his mother visited him, and his mother died when he was only 2.5 years old. And she told him it was going to be okay. She told him, and she said, don't wake up. She told him not to wake up. And because he didn't wake up when they were evacuated, he stayed. And then I can't really get all the pieces of the story together right now, but somehow he was then rescued and then he stayed like in a convent for like 2 years where nuns tended to him and got him back to where he needed to be. It was like a convent hospital. And then he eventually came to the United States. So his story is very inspirational to me that, against all odds, that's the spiritual intervention of his mother, who is his guide, kept him alive.
Right. And from the work that you're doing now, who has been like any public figure that you that inspires you in your field of work?
I would say there's so many, like almost everybody who does this work inspires me. I can't say there's only one person who inspires me. I know Taylor inspires me, BA inspires me, Sophia inspires me, Ishmael inspires me.
Okay.
All the people who are doing this work on a daily basis, I feel like, allow me to show up, encourage me to show up and have a voice in this field.
Okay, cool. All right. For you, Taylor?
Yeah, my answer is similar to Sarah's. I don't have as dramatic of a Holocaust survivor story as Sarah, but my mom and my grandma, they make a living off tarot also. So that was interesting to grow up that way. My mom teaches tarot and Kabbalah and visionary cosmology. So that was part of how I was raised. Very different than a lot of people in the spiritual community who are raised with, religious fundamentalism and then later discover spirituality and apply those, that rigidity to it, but no judgment there. But it's just it's the firmness that they were raised with, and they're searching for a very similar firm structure. But spirituality is not firm; it's fluid.
Yeah.
It's very fluid, and it's very receptive to us and the changes that we're going through. It's a malleable practice. But as far as 3 years ago, I was in the hospital rebuilding this business as a life coach, and that was, what's crazy? It was 4 years ago. It wasn't 2019. It was 2018. My God, that was 4 years ago. So yeah, August of 2018. So I started rebuilding a business as a life coach, but ultimately what I wanted to do was this business with the mystic arts, which involved other people. So I will have to say the people that very much influenced me are Sarah, BA, Sophia, and Ishmael. Because they're the ones that I needed to do this beyond just me. I needed people to join this in order for it to work. I can't teach 10 classes by myself, and I'm not an expert in these fields.
Yeah.
Sarah, you complete me. But Sarah completes me in a lot of ways with I was the tarot guy. She was the astrologer, and we kind of, cross-pollinated. Well, that sounds really dirty. We merged. We merged. But yeah, that helped. And then with Ishmael and the Starseed stuff. So that's really when my life purpose was activated, almost like a friggin' comic book, a team assembling or something like that. You know what I mean? It's that was the superhero team up of the 5 of us. And that's when I started realizing, this is what it's about. It's not my private practice. It's about being a catalyst for all these people to come together.
Wow, great. Nice. Yeah. I want to connect back to what we were talking about in the beginning, the business versus, the work versus, the play thing, because work is generally considered traditionally, just 9 to 5 and all that stuff. But now, especially for us Starseeds, we don't connect to that anymore. And a lot of other people too, right? So how do you, since you've just built like an amazing business together, maybe you can inspire others, like even me, like I'm also kind of going along those lines, like I'm learning hypnotherapy and I want to kind of
You.
build that business. And I mean, so many things, but maybe you can give some
Well,
hints and tips to people like us who want to go into this kind of a
I want
field.
I want
Yeah,
to start it off, Sarah, because I want to give some good news and some bad news.
yeah,
The bad news is work is universal. There's no getting around it. Okay.
yeah,
So we have a lot of fun running this business, but there is a lot of bullshit that we have to do on a day to day basis
yeah,
to build the infrastructure of all this, including all the paperwork to get this thing
yeah,
recognized as a legal entity, to build the
right,
website, to have it functional, to answer emails, to set up the
yeah,
infrastructure of the classes, to run the
yeah,
Zoom. Work is universal. You know, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a school teacher, a
yeah,
construction worker, there's work that comes with it. So, though we are moving into 5D, now the other side of that, and I'll let Sarah talk in just a minute all about this. The other side, the play side, I love teaching these classes. I love this line of work that we're doing. It is a dream come true, and the infrastructure building does start to go away once it's built.
yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like now it's easy to run these
Like
classes. It's great.
passive income kind of.
Yeah,
Like
but
some
like
people call it passive income. It's like you set up a website. Half of the thing is done when you take that first step, especially in this online world, right? So that,
yeah.
yeah,
But there's no getting around the filing for the business paperwork,
yeah,
setting up the bank account, getting all the classes run through Zoom, getting the website set up.
right,
It's gonna take the threshold that people have to cross in the spiritual community is you're gonna have to commit to about 2 or 3 months of boring work.
right,
Just
right,
boring paperwork, legalese. But if you can get through that 2 or 3 months
right.
and you can build it strong enough, you can create a business that lasts 10 years, 20 years, the rest of your life. Obviously, there needs to be some maintenance, but it'll never be like the first few months where you're just doing the boring,
Yeah,
tedious stuff. Sarah, what do you think about that?
I mean, definitely everything you just said, it's like there's a lot of upfront investment that people
mhm,
don't even consider. Yes, this is a ton of fun teaching classes and teaching this work that I'm so passionate about. But like Taylor said, there's paperwork, and the customer service never goes away. I mean,
yeah,
people will ask you
yeah,
questions and say things that
yeah,
are just like you could never even
yeah,
dream of.
right,
So you
yeah,
have to do that as well. You have to keep up with bank accounts, pay people.
yeah,
So it's not just fun and games. Like it's not. So people have to have patience, they have to have fortitude, they have to have discipline. And that's why it's better not to do these things all by yourself, because
yeah,
we bounce creative ideas off of each other, but we also go through all the legal stuff together, all the nuts and bolts stuff together.
We'll be on hold together with the bank.
Yes.
So being on
yeah,
hold is more fun with someone else than by yourself.
yeah,
Continue. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, if you can do
yeah,
it, if you can do it. So it's a lot of upfront work and it's a lot of discipline, and
yeah,
it's just not built in one day. And also, it's constant promotional
yeah,
material too. It's like you can't just let it sit. Even, when it grows, you have to be consistent and capture new audience. And
yeah,
because there might be one person who takes all of our classes, but we have to make sure that, even if they tell 20 people about it, that we capture a new audience. So we have to
yeah,
keep fresh. So it's a lot of work,
yeah,
but it's well worth it. It's very
yeah.
rewarding.
Yeah, so what I got from this, yeah, that's all good information. What I got is like, first is like working with people like who we kind of connect with, like trust with, it gets
Yeah.
easier, right?
On all levels that you connect with spiritually, but that you can also connect with in a business sense too. Because
Oh
there's
yeah, yeah.
a lot of spiritual people, they'll piece out of there once it comes down
Yeah,
to
because
like,
they don't want to talk about money and some
yeah,
things are kind of considered taboo. So that,
Money, people need money in this world right now. We need to
yeah,
eat, we need to clothe ourselves, we need to, buy shampoo, toothpaste. There's nothing shameful about money. And that's
yeah,
another thing, people have to get over that right now, because, you know,
yeah,
it's just currency, it's just energy. So it's just energy in, energy
yeah,
out, energy in, energy out. We all spend money, so you all need to, You have to make money to spend money, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just if someone's fixated on that as the purpose of their work, then yeah, that's a problem. So it should be part of their work, not just the number one thing.
Yeah, that could actually be a class you could teach how to treat money. Because some people, because the spiritual, especially people go to spiritual, then they start ignoring the financial aspects of it. But anyway, what I was going to say, so one is that trust thing. The other is like the word work itself is kind of changing the definition of work, right? Because work is considered hard, like something difficult we have to do. But if we find something, tedious, like, but if we find something like this, I'm enjoying this right now. If this is work for me, I would love to keep doing this all day. So that's what I think the main thing is, like finding the passion or the purpose in life, right? Once we have that, then it's not about work. It's not even about money, because then money flows automatically.
Yes.
When we're doing, because then we attract also those people and circumstances which bring abundance in our life, right? Then we don't have to try hard to kind of get to the money that we want. So anyway, that was my 2 cents to it.
Absolutely. Money works on the principles of attraction, 100%.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So maybe we try to wrap it up. Maybe anything you guys doing which you want to talk about, something coming up, or any message, last words?
Well, we have a lot of classes coming up that are filling up, and we're offering Astrology 1 at a very low price for $44, so that everybody has access to our school right now, and you can try it out. So hop on www.themysticarts.org and see what we have to offer and sign up for our classes. And also I offer private readings. I offer private astrology, Akashic and Tarot readings. And you can find me through themysticarts.org or my personal website, SaraAshleyAstrology.com.
Cool. Taylor, you want to add anything to that?
Can't stop that. We're in business together, so same thing.
Just go to the Mystic Arts. Can't stop the feeling. That's
right. Go to mysticarts.org, pick your class. They're all good. We're doing that very, very reasonable price of $44 right now for the 4-week astrology class, and that's just to really bring people in and just get our name out there. So get it while it's hot. That price will go up, but right now it's probably the best you will ever find for what we offer. So I'm pretty proud of that.
Great, cool. Thank you guys for joining. Thanks, Sarah and Taylor. And I also want to take some of your classes. So hopefully I'll see you guys again soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having us on. We really appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks again. And again, my name is Lokesh. I'm from the Soul Freedom Show. I've never actually said this, but please like, subscribe, share.
Smash that like button.
I'm kind of a little bit shy. Again, goes back to that work thing, right? Like sometimes we are even afraid to promote, like I'm getting out of that shell. Like I was talking to somebody else.
You have my blessing. Just smash that like button and subscribe to Lokesh's page because he's great. So
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Have a good night.
Good night. Take care. Bye.